Shalom everyone, and we're in Parashat Kedoshim. This year, because it's a leap year, Parashat Kedoshim is being read by itself this year, and also this year because yesterday was Shabbat, but it was also second day of the Shvi Shel Pesach, what we call it. So outside Israel, it was Pesach. In Israel, it was just a Shabbat. So in Israel, they read already Parashat Achrei Mot. Outside Israel, you guys have to read Achrei Mot next Shabbat. So you have Achrei Mot already recorded from last 2 weeks ago. And we have Kedoshim for whoever is in Israel who wants to be connected, because usually Achrei Mot and Kedoshim are being read together. Now, Parashat Achrei Mot, which was yesterday's parasha. I can't say last week, because the whole week was just Shabbat. Because the whole week was Pesach, and then the end of Pesach, it was straight Shabbat in Israel. So usually Achrei Mot and Kedoshim come together, and we have today the opportunity to focus on Parashat Kedoshim. Now, what's so special about it? Because let's think. Parashat Achrei Mot, most of it is dealing with Yom Kippur. But this is Pesach. What has Yom Kippur to do with Pesach? It's like, like somebody got mixed up in the ordering of the readings. Okay, we read it 6 months ago. Yom Kippur. Now, Yom Kippur again. So, let's understand the sequence and the connection. Because Pesach is not over. We think it is. But we are now in the 7 weeks between Pesach and Shavuot, which is, by the Kabbalists, it's kind of a Chol HaMoed, which means the holiday still goes on till Shavuot, because we got the experience, the Exodus on Pesach. But to remind everyone, whoever just studied that, that was not the end of the game. Getting out of Egypt was just the beginning of the game. Till the getting out of Egypt, the Israelites had no part in the game. They just like passively watching the battle between Moses and Aaron and Pharaoh and his wizards, right? His army of black magic. Now, Exodus, it's the first time the Israelites are taking a position which means, guys, we're leaving. And to leave, people had to take a stand. I leave. I'm getting up and I leave. My father was born here, my mother too. Both grandparents, all four, were born here too. Like, we're talking about hundreds of years backwards. We don't remember being somewhere else. And now you're telling us to get up and leave tonight. So, just think about yourself. Are you really ready to get up and leave everything you know and just to live to another country? Yeah, the promises for freedom, but most people don't buy that. They like what they know. So, and the fact that you get up out of Egypt, it means that you are free? No, of course not. We were complaining the whole way. Why? We were still slaves. You can leave slavery, but slavery doesn't leave you so easy. Okay? So, we got that special power and energy of freedom on the night of Pesach. And then the 7 weeks following, we had to get them back. So whoever listened to the class to the study about Pesach, when it says that we did it in a hurry. Now, what was the hurry says Rabbi Zakluria, that all the levels of spiritual growth, from slavery, childhood is totally slavery, till blown up responsibility and freedom, was given to us on the night of Pesach, otherwise we wouldn't leave. But it was taken away the next day. All of it. Now the Zohar says we left Egypt, we were broken. We spoke about it when we read about it in Parashat Beshalach. The Zohar says, do you know what is post-trauma? That was post-trauma. When you are in a place like Egypt, you have one thing in your mind, surviving another day. The moment you're out of it, you start, says the Zohar, to think, what have I gone through? You start realizing the abuse, the loss of the children, the loss of your friends, family members, the hard work, people died from working, hunger, whatever, abuse, whatever they went through this big concentration camp that was called Egypt. The Zohar says when we left Egypt, we were broken. We needed to go through a healing process. It was very fast because we felt freedom on that night of the Exodus, and now that it was gone, we were left with the pain. But we had one thing. We had the feel, how does it feel like being free? Free of every bondage. Mental, physical, whatever you just name it. That's what kept us going. So, all the levels that we got on the night of the Seder are coming back by counting of the Omer for 49 days. And that means what? What does that mean? What does that mean? So let us read Parashat Kedoshim and we'll realize what does that mean. So first we'll read the story itself. It's not a story, it's just a list of precepts, advices, whatever, how the Zohar calls it. So we are in the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 1. And it says, and God spoke to Moses, saying, verse 2, chapter 19, Daber el bnei kol adat bnei Israel, talk to the entire congregation of Israel. V'amart alehem, and you tell them, Kedoshim tihiyu. Now I checked some of the translations. In most of them, it says, you shall be holy. But that's not what it says. It says, you will be holy. It says in future tense, not in, how do you call it, derogatory, mandatory. It's not an order. It's a promise. You will be holy, ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokechem, because I am holy, the Lord your God. Why? And that's the name of the parasha, holy, Kedoshim. Let's see how is it connected. Verse 3, Ish imo ve'aviv tirau. Every person has to have awe of his mother and his father. Ve'et shabtotai tishmeru, and you should observe my Shabbatot. I am the Lord, your God. What does that remind you? That's the two tablets. Honor your father and your mother, and then Shabbat, right? Al tifnu el elim, don't turn to other gods. That's the tablets, right? What by mistake it says the 10 Commandments. It doesn't say commandments. Utterances. Let's skip there's something about the sacrifices which is connected that don't have other gods. Okay? And then verse 9, Uvekutzrechem et ktiratzachem. When you come to your land and this is the time for the harvest, you're not supposed to harvest all the field. You leave a corner for the poor. Whatever you forget in the land, you don't go back to pick it up. You leave it to the poor. Whatever fell off the wagon, you leave it to the poor. Okay? And then the same thing with your vineyard. Then it says, Lo tignevu ve'lo tekachashu. You should not steal, should not speak lies. That's also, right? From the two tablets. Ve'lo tishavu b'shmi l'shaged. Don't swear by my name to lies. That's also over there. Okay? Then it says, Lo ta'ashok et re'acha. Do not rob your fellow person. Lo tigzol, lo talin pulat sachir. And he gives some other things that, somebody works for you, and the deal is that at the end of the day you pay him, you have to pay him. You don't say, oh, I'll pay you some other time. No. Lo tekalel cheresh. Do not curse a deaf person. Velifnei iver lo titen michshol. What does it mean? Do not put an obstacle in front of a blind man, which means do not put people in a place they cannot deal with. Because when they make the mistake, it's your fault. Okay? לא תעשו עוול במשפט. Do not do injustice in the court. And it goes on like this, and do not speak gossip. Okay? לא תעמוד על דם רעך. You see somebody going to be shot or attacked, you should be there to help them. Can't stand aside. And then comes the hardest. Till now it was ordering all kinds of stuff to do. Verse 17. לא תשנא את אחיך בלבבך. Don't hate your brother in your heart. This is tough. This is really tough, right? הוכח תוכיח את עמיתך. You should tell your fellow person when he's doing something wrong. However, we said many times in previous years, this is very misleading if you read it simply, because that can create a lot of havoc, right? It says you should tell someone when he's making a mistake in 3 conditions. Okay, that's the law. 1, you love him. 2, he loves you. 3, he's willing to listen. If you don't have all 3 applied, shut up. You're going to make it worse. Okay? ולא תישא עליו חטא, so you don't carry the sin. Because why? Because if you tell him, not with love, if you tell him and what comes from the heart does not go to the heart, if you say and he's not willing to listen, he can become even worse, and that's your fault. Because you didn't approach him properly. And then comes even harder than that. Verse 18. לא תיקום ולא תיטור. Do not keep grudge. And do not take revenge, and do not keep grudge. And love your fellow man as you love yourself. It's very kind of, man to man, or man to woman, or, person to person issues. Okay? So how is that connected to Kedoshim Tihiyu? So we have to go back to our early questions for the whole thing. Of course, when the Zohar is discussing that's Hasulam, Rabbi Ashlag, verse 16. Lamad Rabbi Abba learned, Parashat Kedoshim, this Parashat Kedoshim, Hiklal Kol HaTorah, is inclusive of the whole 5 books of Moses. V'yichotam tabat ha'emet. This is the signet ring of truth. בפרשה זו נתחדשו סודות עליונים של התורה. In this parasha, highly valued secrets of the Torah have been renewed. In the 10 utterances, גזרות ועונשים ומצוות עליונות, I'll come back to that. וכשהגיעו החברים לפרשה זו היו שמחים. When the friends came to study that parasha, they were very happy. What's so happy about this parasha? When we speak about the 10 utterances, the words are exactly the same words being reminded to us in Parashat Yitro, Mount Sinai Revelation. What does it say? It says, when the Israelites were on Mount Sinai, and God started to speak, Parchu nishmoteim shel Israel. The souls of the Israelites simply took off. And now, everyone, the whole nation, having an out-of-body journey, all of them together, all of them experiencing things the same and a little bit different, because each one of us is different. And then something happens. It says we saw the voices. How did we see the voices? So the Zohar gives us an animation. How every word is flying from above, goes around the heads of the Israelites and their souls and heals them. And then that word goes into the tablet and engrave itself. But then sparks coming out. And these sparks become like a tree with 70 branches. And every branch continues to branch out. Like, that's like a beautiful animation movie. But what are these branches? And the Zohar says these are exactly the words that is being described over here. Gzerot v'onashim u'mitzvot elionot. What does it mean? Decrees, punishments. What's so exciting about it? What's exciting about it, that you could see that from every action there is a reaction, and you see the reaction and the secondary effect and the tertiary effect and the fourth level and fifth level and so on, and how the whole world is just a network of forces interacting with each other. So the Israelites, seeing that as a beautiful big network of forces and how they interplay with each other, and you're just struck with that beauty. And then of course you say, we'll do and we'll listen. Why? You have no other choice. When you see how everything is corrected and everything is so beautifully set up as this amazing tree with all those branching of every action, and how everything, there's no whims. There's nobody sitting up there and one day he's upset about you, one day he's not. You just see the order of the universe, and you see that everything is so mathematically organized. The moment you understand the power of the universe, you have no free will whatsoever to mess up that order, because you understand the force behind it, you understand the order, and when you see something so beautiful, the last thing in the world that you want is to mess it up. So, why do we still messing things up? What's the question? And the answer is very simple. Usually I ask people this question: how many people sitting in front of me, listening right now, they know about stuff that they're supposed to do? It's good for them, very helpful for them doing it. It's not so hard not to do it. It's not so hard to do it, but they still don't do it. Everyone has this problem. I know I'm supposed to do it. It's not so hard, and I still don't get to do it. How many people know about stuff that they do every day, almost every day? It's not good for them. It's not so hard not to do it, but they still do it. How many very intelligent people still have that problem? Everyone. Why do we do that? Why do we go knowingly against our own best and our interest? And the answer is evil inclination. In order to have free will, you need to have the other you. What the Zohar calls it sitra acha, your other side. We all have two sides, the manic and the depressive, both sides. And there's always this duel and fight, and you have to recognize that there is a fight. If you don't recognize there's a fight, you lost before the fight even started. How do you know? Before you woke up, you already lost it. So, what's the connection? Twice a year, the Torah is giving us a timetable. That twice a year, the Creator is giving us a gift, which means let's reenact the rules. Why are we miserable? What makes us happy? Let's reenact the rules. Why? You know, the beginner's course for Kabbalah. Already in the beginning, you have to ask people, what is that you want to achieve in life? And people start to do what they always do. They get mixed up between the real goal and the means. Most people in our society, and it was like this forever, made a big mistake by making the means the goal. Making money is not a goal, it is a mean. Establishing a family, it's not a goal, it is a mean. Why? Because that doesn't stay. It doesn't stay. You can't keep your family members with you all your life. You know? you set a family, you start, let's say you have few kids, and they're your kids. How long would they be your kids? They are under your custody a very minute fraction of their lifespan. And then very soon, when they become humans around their teens, right? Sooner or later, they're just out there, and for the rest of their lives, they're just, there's a connection. Sometimes close, but you have no control over it. So that's the family you wanted? So then you stay with just, with your spouse. Is having a spouse a goal for most people? Yeah. Spouse, house, money, whatever. Is that satisfying people? No, because these are not goals. It's only means. So what is the goal? What is the goal? And people get mixed up. No wonder it's very hard to find happy people. Because if you are after the means and not the goals, you're after illusion. Something that can never give you what you're asking for. Because what you're asking for, you want fulfillment. You want happiness. Money cannot give it to you. Oh, it's much easier to be fulfilled when you have money. It's much easier to be miserable when you have money. You can pay more doctors to check up what's wrong with you, right? Your people are giving you, you're miserable, but you appreciate it because you have money to pay. Still, it's not doing it. So what's the problem? And we say it's like very simple. Let's go to basics. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then he said, let there be light. And there was light. And God said and God saw that the light was good. Says the Zohar. We learn from that every good feeling we have is an illumination of that original light. And there was a night, and there was a day, one day. Everything was one. Perfect. Game over. Game over? No. We learned there was a little dent in that perfection. When the Creator created us, His endless and infinite light created us because when there is infinite giving, it necessitates someone to receive that giving. Otherwise, it's not considered to be giving if there's no one to share with. So we were created as beings of receiving. And the first instant, the giving happened, the receiving happened. Looks like game over, and there was a night, there was a day, one day. What do you mean one day? Why not first day? Because there's one when there's no other. So it's not the first day, it's a one day. Everything was one. There was nothing but that one. Okay, why it's not game over? Very simple. When we were created as beings of receiving, human souls, we received that light, I'm making it short. We received it infinitely, completely, so we received the nature of that light. So we received, when it says that we were created in the image of the Creator, He has no image. So what image did we receive? The image of giving and the image of creating. And therefore, in order to be happy, we need to create and we need to give. But when everything is one and perfect, there's nothing to create and no one to share with. So the Creator had to mess it up a little bit. So the second day, He just separated. He separated in this and that and separate. And on the second day, He doesn't say, and God saw that it was good, because separation is not good by itself. Only when you take the separated parts and you start to put them together. That was on the third day. The ability to put things together came out on the third day. That's why on the third day, it was said twice, and God saw it was good. So when do we really enjoy? When we take things and we put them together and we see the whole all over again. But we did it. then we feel great. Okay? However, that thing went on till the sin of Adam. And then we got our biggest game. What is the game? The game is to tell the difference between the two me's that each one of us has. Each one of us has a split personality. Because, just remember that, when we were created in the beginning as a desire to receive, the problem is that after the tzimtzum, after we pushed away the light, because we wanted a space to create and to share, the moment you push away the light, the Kabbalists explain, you create a gap that logically there's no way to bridge it. One side is the infinite light of loving and caring of the Creator, unconditionally. Okay, no judgment whatsoever, because the Creator is above judgment. On the other side is us. Give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. Now we learn, Rabbi Ashlag is teaching us, that in the spiritual world, connection between two entities can be only by affinity. Similarities attract. Which means, if the universe is right now bipolar, one polarity is endless giving and sharing, and the other one is endless receiving shamelessly, there's no bridge. These are the two most opposite poles ever can be created. East and west, up and down, light and darkness. How would that be bridged? Oh, then came that amazing invention. The greatest invention of anything ever. When the vessel, us, used the tzimtzum, the contraction, to turn the desire to receive into the desire to receive for the sake of sharing. You know, you can see it, I always teach, in ball games. The moment you get the ball, pass it over. You want to keep the ball, the product, give it. Share it with your teammates. Because if you don't share it with your teammates, you'll be out of the game. Except for one game, American football. You're allowed to keep the ball, but then everybody is allowed to beat you up. These are the rules of life. You receive, never keep it for yourself. What is that we read over here? You know, you get the crops, always remember that people are not so lucky as you are. Leave something for them. Let them collect without you giving to them. Let them do it, the harvest themselves. Let them pick it up themselves so they feel we did it. Give them respect. Don't just collect it and you'll decide who's going to get it. No, give them the respect to go and harvest it by themselves. There are many rules over here, but all of these rules are around one thing. Kedoshim tiyu. You will be holy. What does it mean holy? Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. In order to be holy, holy WH, my rabbi used to say, in order to become a whole, you need to be, just being a vessel, I want, this connects you from the universe, from the light, from the network, from everything. You're just there by yourself, miserable. You get some light here and there. How long would that stay? Hi and bye. Whenever you receive selfishly, you disconnect yourself from the network. You are unholy. You are in the impure system. An impure system in Hebrew is tum'ah. Tum'ah means from the word atum, blocked. You think you're open, I'm free to do whatever I want. Yes, you are. Yes, you are free as a child. Have you seen children? Manic depressive. One moment they cry for just, an ice cream, like the whole world, like they lost all the family. Like this is depression like never been before. The moment they get the ice cream, They're happy like they just won, I don't know what. That's manic depressive. A grown-up behaves like this, things get institutionalized, right? So look at kids. Why? Because they have no control whatsoever about their desire. They want something, they go for it, they don't get it, end of the world. And being a grown-up means taking responsibility. I want it. I have to pay for it. No free lunches. You want it, you have to create it, you have to generate it, you have to take responsibility for that. You have to take responsibility for what? For a true fulfillment. How could that happen? How do you have ownership over anything? When you achieve holiness, which means when you receive in order to give. When you get, and the getting is a mean for the giving. Only when you receive, and your purpose is using the receiving as a way to become the light, to become a creator. See how many ball games we have. You just get the ball, like ping pong, tennis. You have immediately to get it back to the other side. Where is that coming from? It's the same thing. Somebody says thank you, thank him back. Somebody pays you, be nice to them. It's like always somebody, you got some money, give tithing. Make other people happy. You want life to be good for you? Make other people feel good also. Which means never ever keep the ball. Always get the ball moving. Always push back. Always push back, but pushing back because by pushing back, you become a creator of your own, because you create what the Kabbalists call returning light. The light that you wanted to receive, but I want it so much. Yeah, you want to keep it? Share it. Use it for others. You create an unseen force, the returning light. You turn your vessel from desire to receive for the self alone, which is the end. It's finite. You know, it's a last station, last stop. I get it, nobody gets from it. What did you create at that moment? A finite energy, a last stop. Mm-hmm. What is the creator? Endless. You created exactly the opposite from the creator. You want to connect to the creator? You have to create holiness. You receive, and you turn any receiving into giving. Yes, when you get the most tasty food in the world, it's much easier to enjoy it solitude. So no one will disturb you while you chew your food. However, you in that moment focus only on what? On I want. This is your demise. Because joy, light, goodness with selfishness, they don't go together. They don't go together. So if we want to go back to let's reenact the rules twice a year. Once in the beginning of the winter, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchat Torah, we're getting back to the reenacting the rules. We are here to be holy. What does it mean to be holy? Go around with all kinds of religious stuff? No. Being holy is about sharing, about caring, about wholesome. Whenever you really want to receive, you have to make sure you give. Whenever you give, you make sure that you also receive. Why? The Creator created you for one purpose, that you will receive. The only problem is you cannot keep it unless you give with that. So turning yourself into a holy person is not something that you do in your spare time when you retire. You want happiness? You want fulfillment? You want true success? It has to be holy. So you're talking about you finish business school and you have goal settings. Goal setting is not about, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a this, I want to be a that, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a carpenter. It doesn't matter. That's not goal setting. These are means. That's not a goal. What's your goal? To be holy. Because when you're holy, you always be satisfied. You always feel a whole. You always feel fulfilled. You always feel that you really achieved no matter what you do. Then, well, how do you get there? Being a doctor, being a street cleaner, doesn't matter. You do it as a holy work. Simple as that. Fulfilling God's will, which is to receive an opportunity to make others happy, and by this, making myself happy. Then, when your goal setting is set properly, we save so much disappointments, wrong turns, mistakes, wrong calculation of the road, of the goals. And that's why this parasha is so powerful. It says, you will be holy. It's a promise. It's not an order. The Creator says, I created you to be happy. You'll be happy sooner or later, because there are so many rules in this world that will take you from one step to another till you learn that being a doctor is not a rule. Being a jeweler is not a rule. Being an artist is not a rule. Being a physician, being whatever, being a father or a mother or a spouse, that's not a goal. These are all means to take us to the place of being holy. And when you're holy, you got the goal. Holy means real, true success. Real, true satisfaction. How do you go about it? Oh, we just had some guidelines. Don't keep grudge. Don't hate people. Keep justice. Treat people with human dignity. And over all of them, in verse 18, love others as you love yourself. Rav Ashlag is saying, why is that so important? Why is that the golden rule of everything? Because how do I know I'm a better physician? How do I know I'm a better professional, whatever I do? When the more I do, the more love I can feel towards other people, indiscriminately, I know I'm getting there. Why? When is that you can feel real, genuine love towards others? When you become holy, when you're whole. We all know that. When we are not at our best, everyone can upset us. Even people we know they love us, we know we need them, and we still get upset from them. Why? Because of them? No, because of us. And when we are reaching the goal, then we can live with everyone. We can tolerate everyone. We can see somebody falling, and as it says, and we won't stand by, we'll just do everything we can to get them up, because we love them. Why do we love them? How could I not love someone else that God created too? When you are holy, you're full. You're happy. When you're happy, you're a channel. You're connected. You're connected to right messages. You don't make like wrong turns. You simply go there. You don't know why you went there, but you know you're supposed to go there and you went there. And if you went there and you realize, oh, that's a mistake. No, it's never a mistake. It was always a good decision. How? I'll find out. I'll find out. Why? Everything happens for a good reason. And if it happened, it was supposed to happen. And what other choice do I have? To sit and cry? Oh, just you got a lemon? How could you make a lemonade without a lemon? Huh? Can you? No. You know, I love lemonade. But without lemons, you can't make lemonades. Okay? So that's what life is about. So setting up the rules, reenacting the rules in the beginning of the summer. This is Pesach, this is Passover, this is the counting of the Omer, this is Shavuot. It's all about one thing. Guys, we forgot a little bit. You know, between money, do they care for me? They don't care for me. They invited me for the Seder, didn't invite me for the Seder. They sent me a blessing for the Passover, they did not, whatever, all this stuff. Between, just a second, what is the goal? And the goal is to become holy. You want why? Without becoming holy, you can never become fulfilled. You can never become a whole. No matter what you're going to do. You can have $1 million a month salary. I know for some people it's not enough. But most people are okay with that. Because they don't have it. Okay? Let's say you have $1 million. Is that what's going to make you fulfilled? The answer is no. Why? If you're not holy, nothing is going to be fulfilling you. Nothing is going to fulfill you. Nothing is going to give you the feel. So now you have tons of money, the nicest spouse in the world, amazing kids, houses everywhere, here and there, and so on, everybody to adore, and you get yourself into troubles unbelievably. Why did you do that? Because you're not satisfied. Why are you not satisfied? How much is enough? When you're holy, everything is enough. When you're not holy, it will never, ever be enough. Never. So we have the two me's. One is called the soul consciousness, which is the desire to receive for the sake of sharing. You have to follow the soul. And one is the body consciousness, which is a desire to receive for the self alone. And we have to make a choice. As long as you follow, you know, if every mother knows that the first training of the child is you can't just do whatever you feel like whenever you feel like. Right? Mm-hmm. You can't just eat whatever you want to eat whenever you feel like eating, or crying or screaming whenever, or go to sleep, or get up, or wear whatever you feel like doing, or whatever, doing your toilet stuff, whatever, everywhere, anytime. A successful human being, it starts with discipline. Disciplining who? The body. So what if you want? You have to suppress it and transform it. Till you coming bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah when you start to reach higher levels of desire, right? The smaller they are, the smaller are the wills and desires. The bigger they become, they want bigger things, right? And more expensive stuff. Mm-hmm. Correct? Yeah. Now the question is, it's the same thing, and it's known. Kids that know to take, you know, they know discipline, they are more successful grown-ups. And if you cannot give them discipline, they're going to fail themselves. They can, you know, no one will fail you. How many people in the history of mankind succeeded in spite of all kinds of other people going against them? That's the story of mankind. Mm-hmm. You know, one person wants to make a big difference and the others are against. And finally, who remembers the others? Why? He just wanted to do it, and he wanted enough. And he was not afraid from other people's disapproval, people cursing him, people. He just wanted to make a dent, to make a difference. And how many people made a difference and never got an approval? Which means, you know, the masses didn't thank them. They never had, they didn't care about it. Because when you do it from the place of holiness, you're not attached or addicted to what other people have to say about you. You love them. You know that, you know, like kids. You know, when you raise kids, you always, you know, you get upset if they say, I don't like you. They say a lot of times they don't like you. Why? Oh, I want that chocolate. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. You have, first of all, there's breakfast, there's this, you just can't eat all the chocolate on, in the kitchen just because you want it. I hate you. That's the way it is. People who are popular are not the ones who are making the trend. It's the unpopular people. What they say, if somebody goes, his days come. He comes to heaven, he says, let me in. So why do you think you should go to heaven? Because I never had any enemy. Oh, you have the first ticket to go back because you didn't do anything. You can't be popular. Just do whatever everybody wants. You have to deal with rejection. You have to deal with it. And if your goal is to be holy, you're free. If your goal is people's approval, your goal is to feel tasty food, whatever is your goal, those goals, money, all kinds of physical, that's body goals. All of those goals, high and by. Why? This is the impure system. You get it, you lose it. A minute later, an hour later, if you're really in a high level of consciousness, on the spot you lose it. If you're not in a high level of consciousness, you realize you lost it at that moment, maybe years later. But you lost it that moment. So you want to set a goal about who is the person you want to be. Your goal is to be holy. And here is a promise. You will be holy. Kicking and screaming, you want it or not. You understanding or not, we just heard over here. When we have been on Mount Sinai, we've seen all the cause and effects. And if you don't understand the rule, and you go against it, there's a whole system of cause and effect that will take you through a journey that finally will teach you to enjoy being holy, to enjoy becoming holy, to understand that this is a goal and everything else is just an illusion. It's not a goal, it's not even a mean. It's just distraction. Why? So when you achieve the goal, it's yours. So when you're talking about creativity, how many people who are artists and they create music and paintings and sculpture and architecture and are terrible, depressed people? This is not creativity. Creativity is to take our own desire to receive for the self alone and to turn it holy. This is creativity. When you set about that, how do you know you did it? Love others as you love yourself. I'm God. Oh, you're getting close. Because how do you know you're getting close? You start loving people without the need of any excuse. Why do you love that woman? I don't know. She's a creature. She was created by God. Why not? You're getting there. I'm not talking about, again, sex is not love. Right. We're talking about loving another person like God loves him. Some great teacher said, if we could love the most righteous person as God loves the most terrible person, oh, we are so better. Why? Because the Creator, He loves everyone the way they are. Not through the shell. We see the shells. But we should train ourselves to see that each person is on its road to become holy. So that's a goal setting. We set this goal so we have a powerful, successful journey for this summer. Thank you very much.